Good morning. Welcome to your Midweek Connection. So, do you remember who first shared Christ with you? Maybe it was a parent, aunt, uncle, maybe even a friend. But whoever it was, they cared enough about you to share the best news ever with you, right? Can you imagine if no one ever told you? Man, I sure can't. What if no one ever modeled for you how to know, obey, and follow Jesus? What would that even look like? The book of Judges paints a pretty grim picture of what that might actually look like. You see, Joshua had died, and eventually his entire generation along with him. Now we know that Joshua modeled to the people how to follow God, and God did some pretty amazing things through him, didn't he? And there were more than just a few stories that came out of this life and time of leadership. I mean, Joshua leading an entire nation into the promised land in dramatic fashion, crossing the Jordan River on the swollen Jordan River, mind you, on dry land because God heaped up the river like a mountain upstream. That might be a story just worthy of a notable mention, right? Now, you would think this story and countless others would be cherished and shared emphatically with each generation to come. You would think. But look what happens just one generation later, just one generation after Joshua dies. After that whole generation had been gathered to their ancestors, another generation grew up who knew neither the Lord nor what he had done for Israel. It's Judges 2:10. So somehow an entire generation of kids whose parents inherited the promised land had no idea who God was or what he had done for them? What? How is that even possible? How does that even happen? Well, it is possible if they never heard it. Did anyone actually tell them about the great works God had done and why? Did anyone model for them how to know, obey, and follow God? See, we may not know the answer to these questions for sure, but what we do know is that our responsibility is to pass on the good news so that that doesn't happen on our watch. You see, fortunately for us, we have the scriptures to remind us constantly of who God is, all he has done and continues to do through his son Jesus Christ. But ultimately, someone still had to tell us about God, his word, and the offer of salvation through Jesus Christ. Jesus models this in Matthew chapter 10, by gathering his disciples and then sending them out. In doing this, the disciples are now also the apostles, the sent ones. The students are now being sent out to share with others all that Jesus has taught them. And as disciples of Christ ourselves, we also are apostles. We too are the sent ones to share the good news of Jesus Christ. All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations will bow down before him. Future generations will be told about the Lord. Psalm 22, 27, and 30. That's our responsibility. You see, the only way this happens is if we share all that we have learned and are learning with the next generation, so they too may become disciples and apostles. So seek out the young people in your life and encourage them today. Equip them in the ways of Jesus, sharing all that he has taught you and is teaching you, and empower them to be the next generation of the sent ones. Be strong and courageous, and have an awesome day.